I will check out this super chat, which is from Carl Kraus.
Carl, what's
it's
up,
not
man?
directly about the book, but it just say in the Survivor stream chat last night, somebody pointed out that the fight choreo in the releases following Revenge of the Sith is clunky without Nick Gillard. Should he have come back, or were the fights okay to you?
Look, I don't know if there's anybody, maybe in the world, that appreciates Nick Gillard more than us. I love Nick Gillard, but, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like every single thing Nick Gillard's ever done is great. I mean, what's your favorite lightsaber fight in Episode 2?
In Episode 2?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess
There's
like,
Anakin versus Dooku. There's Dooku versus Obi-Wan. There's Dooku versus Yoda.
Yeah.
There should be awesome stuff in that.
I was going to say, I guess when Anakin gets the 2 sabers.
For
but like
4 moves?
all of that is very short
Yeah.
and short-lived, you know?
Yeah. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I know that Nick Gillard could prepare as much as he could, and then George Lucas would come in and be like, I'd rather him jump here. And he's like, what? He's like, just kick him and jump. And there's that one point in Duel of the Fates where Darth Maul like awkwardly kicks Obi-Wan and then jumps out of the way, you know? And I've always thought, like, that's so strange. Why does that feel like it was inserted? And it was. So it was George Lucas like, just kick him and jump,
Kick him
you
and
know?
jump. Okay.
And also Lucas came in and completely ruined Palpatine versus Mace Windu. But I mean, I like Nick, but I mean, are we going to say that he's the only person that can do it? No, of course not. I mean, I think that as long as we don't go, too crazy or too one earthly style into something. I don't want pure wushu. I don't want pure kendo. I don't want, my favorite thing that Nick Gillard ever talked about was like that he believed like these guys are the greatest warriors in an era with guns, and they use swords. They must have trained in every style, including fencing and axe cutting and hatchetry and, everything.
Broadsword, short.
And they do that because when these two people get together and start to fight, they're fighting at 1,000,000 miles an hour in the future. So whenever you see like these, in my opinion, dumb videos of like, hi everybody, I'm a sword master. I'm going to tell you why Star Wars is wrong about the way it fights. You wouldn't spin because I can stab you in the back. And I want to be like, they can see the future. They're not fighting right now. They're fighting 10 moves from now. They're trying to set themselves up in this chess piece spot, in which case then the fight is being told. So Nick Gillard pioneered that, and I will give him all the props. And Duel of the Fates is one of the greatest lightsaber fights in the world. In a little bit, we're going to be watching the Revenge of the Sith, a version of that fight. That's one of the greatest lightsaber fights to ever do
really
it.
Good.
But I don't think that diminishes anything that we've seen from other stuff. The sequel trilogy, honestly, I think like its intensity and its move sets aren't bad. The only thing at that point is scripting. I'm not convinced that the lightsaber choreography that we had of, let's say, Rey versus Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens was choreographed with the intention that Kylo Ren is suffering a grievous gut wound. If it was, that should have been part of the story of a fight. I'm a sucker for...
He punches himself, Eric.
That's not enough. That's George Lucas. Kick him and jump. Stories or fights need to tell stories. You need to know exactly who's better than who's on the defensive, why are they on the defensive, how are they going to get out of it. Are you in their head like noticing, oh my god, they just shifted this thing that they're going to trip over, fights, you need to be in that. And I feel like the sequel trilogy did like their fight choreography over here, and then they were like, all right, cut. All right, we need some fighting, so bring this set in, and here's the fighting. And it didn't have the storytelling that Nick Gillard would put in.
I did always like the throne room fight in Last Jedi.
Yeah, I love the performance.
I know a lot of people like get on it because like a lot of the guards in the background are kind of sitting around and not doing a lot in here and there. But like if you just didn't see them, you wouldn't think about it, and you would probably enjoy it too. But because you see them, people are like, why is that guy doing this? But I'm like, the fight and what they have in there, I think is really good.
No, I mean, it is.
That's without Nick Gillard as well.
It is. It's the best fight in the sequel trilogy.
I think there's getting the story aspect is important, but you don't want to have like only one person can ever make lightsaber fights, because also like you want it to continue after they're gone, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be able to progress any story stuff or whatever that they're doing with this franchise. So I don't want it to be like, well, no more Nick, so no more lightsaber fights.
Sure.
And I've seen some amazing lightsaber fights from like fan films and stuff over the years that have no connection to Nick Gillard except for that they were
except
fans
for the inspiration,
watching lightsaber fights when they were young.
Yeah,
and they're like, I want to do that too.
I mean, it's like saying like, I can understand saying somebody saying I don't want Star Wars unless it's from George Lucas, and I could be like, fair. That's not my standard, but fair, you know. And if someone else said like I don't like lightsaber fights unless done by Nick Gillard, like I might not agree. But me and you might be best friends.
Sure.
Because I love Nick Gillard.
He makes great fights.
Yeah.
He does a good job.
And we should shout out, too, Gillard Stunts on YouTube is Nick Gillard's YouTube channel, and he's been slowly releasing. They would shoot a lot of previs stuff for these fights, and you get to see a lot of like how they were kind of meant to be, and then you can see how they were chopped up by Lucas to fit into his story and his vision. But they're pretty fantastic. The more I see it, the more I can see, you know, the flaws in terms of like targeting and economy of moveset and that type of thing. But at least those videos, like those are training videos. Like how often when we would do a lightsaber fight and we're training, are we going 100% full performance? Sure. It's almost never, you know, so it's not a big deal. But generally, whenever they're filming those previous videos, they try to kind of capture that.
And all those is trying to get the memorization down, too, to make sure I remember where I need to be and when I need to be there. And I'm messing up a lot trying to do those training things. I mean, you mess up a lot doing the recordings, too, sometimes, you know?
All the time.
It just it happens, so.
But no, we'll go into more of this when we get into the fan film we're about ready to watch.
Yeah, that'd be good.